You're listening to the ISACA podcast. I'm your host, Safia Kazi, and I'm the Privacy Professional Practices Principal here at ISACA. I'm really excited today to be joined by Lauren Hasson, who's the founder of DevelopHer, an award-winning career development platform, and Director of Engineering at a top Silicon Valley payment company. Lauren, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
So let's just kind of start by talking about your career. Can you tell us about your journey? How exactly did you get started and how did you end up where you are today?
So my journey is one that it reads like a high intense novel. So I actually have a triple major in electrical engineering, computer science, and economics from Duke. But I went a completely different direction after graduation, and 7 years later found myself with an outdated degree, not able to write a single line of code, and laid off working for minimum wage at the time. And it was one of the darkest times of my life. And I took a series of steps that I will be sharing in our upcoming webinar. And within 2 years, I was top of field as an iOS software engineer. My work was featured in Apple's keynote, and I was one of 100 tech innovators worldwide invited to attend the UKGA Innovation Conference to present ideas on bridging the global STEM gap to the United Nations. And since then, I've gone to build voice payment systems. I've gotten into security myself, leading application security for a fintech. And now I lead, in addition to being the founder of DevelopHer and a keynote speaker and author, I work on the front lines of tech. In fact, I was just checking a Slack message 5 minutes ago. Leading my team, I lead the client and customer experiences for all applications at a Silicon Valley fintech.
Okay, it sounds like you have your hands full. Do you have any tips for our listeners who may also be juggling quite a few responsibilities, perhaps trying to start another business on the side? Any tips for balancing potentially several competing priorities?
Absolutely. That is one of the most frequent questions I get asked is, that's a lot of hats. How do you do it all? And my answer is one that you might not expect. I don't balance time. I balance my energy and really focus on stacking things that really get me into the flow together. And then when I have activities that might drain me, to stack it around self-care and things that really reinvigorate me. Every now and then I run into an issue of time. But most of the time, it's not actually time that's my limiting factor. It's the energy that I have to do things. And so the higher I go and the more I do, I actually rest and take care of myself more. Some simple things that I do, I'm very, very open about these things, even with my team at work, is I put therapy time on my calendar and I invest in mental health and taking care of myself. I have workouts on the calendar. I've recently lost over 120 pounds. So in addition to everything that I've done, I've also gotten my health back. And that's because I put time on the calendar. I believe when you schedule it and put it, like, I'm not a morning person, so I work out in the evenings and I put it on my calendar. But I also take a lot of time to rest and make sure that I get a good night's sleep. I build in naps on the weekends and don't guilt myself for that. And little simple things, that I feel like as an adult, I like to treat myself to a massage or getting my nails done or getting a facial or hair done. But ways to take care of myself and renew my energy so that I can take care of things. And, as a leader, I make a lot of really critical decisions and lead emotional conversations. So I need to make sure that I have that energy. So my answer is not really time, it's energy that I focus on and making sure that I'm constantly feeding and restoring my energy.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I like thinking about it in that way. Kind of switching gears a little bit, some people may not be entirely sure of their ultimate career goals or what it is that they want out of their career. What advice might you have for people who aren't exactly sure what their 5, 10, 15-year plan looks like?
Well, number one, they're not alone. I also don't know what I want to be when I grow up, is how I put it. Like I'm 43 years old and I don't know what I want to be in 5 years. Um, but I know that I need to take that next step. And so instead of, I try to have like a general guiding principle, but if you ask me, where do you want to be in 5 years? I could not give you a straight answer, but I know I'm putting in the reps to build my network, to make sure that I'm taking like important skill learning, and really putting myself out there and taking that next step to put me in the situations, in the rooms that might get me there.
I know just in conversations I've had with some members, they really want to network, but they find it intimidating or they consider themselves to be more introverted. What tips do you have for these individuals who may see the value in networking, but just find it a bit too intimidating to really know how to get started?
Well, I will give you the background that I am an introvert myself. I will save the best tips for the keynote and the webinar. But I learned the hard way that it's not like you have to have a network. Like, your network is your net worth. It is your survival line. And being an introvert is not an excuse. I have every excuse in the book. I'm also hearing impaired, so going to like in-person networking events with there's a lot of background noise is very hard for me. And I am a self-described wallflower. And I still do it. It takes time, it takes practice, but 20 years later, I have a network of over 15,000, and that's international. And the answer is, you need to build it one relationship at a time. Instead of thinking about the whole picture, just think about what's that one next relationship that you can build. And remember, I'm doing it. If I can do it, anyone can do it.
I like that. It's just kind of one connection, one person at a time. Thinking also kind of small scale. Are there any tips you have for our members, people who work in the digital trust space, of things that they can do daily, maybe weekly, to help progress their career?
Yeah. So the number one thing is, I like to be connected with people and constantly having conversations both internally and externally. So internally, to build allies and learn information, how to get things done across the company. And then externally, to know how other companies are doing things and to build up your network for where your next move might go.
Yeah, with the proliferation of remote work, I think some people find it hard to have those kind of casual break room conversations. Any tips for how you can have conversations that aren't necessarily work-related meetings that can help you get a better pulse on what's going on in your organization and getting to know your coworkers and, again, that network a little bit better?
100%. So full disclosure, I've worked remotely for the last 12 years. So when I say you build your network, even though you're remote, I've done it myself. Like, this is not theory. This is absolute practice. I'm intentional. So I actually put time. I believe that if you don't schedule something, it won't happen. So I put time on my calendar, and I intentionally reach out to people 15, 20, 30 minutes and just say, hey, just want to get to know you better, hear what's going on, and just connect at a human level. When I travel, if there's someone who lives in my city, I make time to at least have breakfast with them. Yes, it's my free time and travel, but it goes a really long way. I have travel coming up to LA and Phoenix soon, and I'm making time to meet team members and other leaders at my organization, and it will pay itself back 100%.
Yeah, so we are really excited that you're going to be joining us for a webinar on September 9th titled Elevate Your Career. Can you tell our listeners what they can expect from this session?
Yeah. So number one, you're going to come away absolutely lit on fire, that achieve your boldest goal and realize that that big, hairy, audacious goal that you have for yourself is far more achievable than you ever thought. And then not only are you going to walk away inspired going, if she can do all of that, I can too. I'm going to peel back that curtain and I'm going to show you how I did it. How did I achieve such amazing transformation? And I've done this multiple times over in my career, and I've helped thousands of women and men too. I set out to help women, and men flock to this. Not even just men in finance and women in finance, but not finance, tech, but other industries were coming because this worked so successfully. But this was built specifically for women and then men in tech. And so I'm going to give you the strategies. I'm going to give you 5 key strategies that you can just pick one. One will change your life. One applied, but I'm going to give you 5 that you can immediately take and start adding to your life, that women have gone out and gotten promotions within a year, gotten more salary, they have gotten new opportunities, they have expanded their network. And you're going to walk away with all those secrets that I use myself, that thousands of women, I founded DevelopHer 8 years ago. At this point, thousands of women have put to work, and I'm going to share those secrets with you.
That sounds amazing. I can't wait for that webinar. All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room. It's AI. How do you envision AI impacting people at various career levels? Is it going to impact early versus mid-career professionals in a different way? How might it impact the way that you build your network, achieve career growth, etc.?
So that's a great question. AI is evolving almost every month. Like every month is being applied differently. It has new capabilities. My one piece of advice is, if you don't lean into AI, you are going to be left behind. That is something that I am, on the professional front, I am personally leaning into AI and not trying to learn it all on my own, but looking to other experts to learn from their learning. But I am also having my direct team members lean into it as well, because I know that if they don't lean into AI, they're going to be left behind, and I don't want that for them. I'm also looking to explore things that I learned a year ago. I'm questioning, is that still valid? I think at the senior level, I think no one is too old to learn a new skill set, and I think that is one thing that can set you apart. We hear about ageism a lot in hiring, and it's really not ageism. It is really learning new skills and showing that you have those skills. So whether that's direct job experience or passion project experience, showing that you're leaning into it. And for recent graduates, it's having that technology and that mindset and eagerness to learn and come and accelerating that growth path.
So I think kind of one of the common themes I've heard you talk about is just the importance of adaptability and flexibility, and knowing that things might change. You are going to have to constantly be learning. But I think sometimes people can find this really challenging, especially when their workload is just overwhelming. They're struggling to keep their head above water. And then also being expected to be flexible can be kind of a challenge. Any tips for how people can bring a little bit more flexibility into their life, or balance flexibility when there may be some certain rigid requirements that are required for their job or for other obligations they may have?
Yeah. So look, I get it. I also face this too. I personally hate change. But I also know that if I don't change, I'm going to get left behind. And so instead of looking at the whole big elephant that I've got to eat, I focus on just that one first bite that I've got to take, that one first next step, and focus on taking that, because then I build momentum. And don't get lost in figuring out the whole move. Think about that first next step that you need to take.
All right. And can you tell us a little bit about DevelopHer and how ISACA members could get involved and how it might potentially impact their careers?
Well, most importantly, come to the webinar. I haven't done this webinar all year, so this is an exciting opportunity to come, get inspired, leave with immediately actionable items that you can take in your own career. I'll even share stories of women who've attended this seminar before and the webinar before, and what they have gone on to achieve. I have 8 years of a track record and success story. Also have a blog at developher.com on ways to advance yourself, earn more, and get promoted. I have a best-selling book. You can go to my website, and it's available on Amazon through my website. And then for women who want to go further, I have an online daily bite-sized challenge where 5 minutes or less a day, 5 days a week, I can help you transform your career in less than a year. So it includes group coaching and daily bite-sized challenges to level up your career. And then anyone who wants more of me, I do consulting with companies, or bring me in to speak to your own women.
All right, I'm going to put you a little bit on the spot, but aside from your book, any particular books that you read in your career that have been particularly impactful that you would recommend to our listeners?
100%. I know the answer to this. There were 2 to 3 books that changed my life. 2 have the same premise. One is Tony Robbins' Awaken the Giant Within. That book I read multiple times over. It is like a tomb. It is packed, like every page packed with absolute technologies and strategies to change your life. One of the biggest things I got from that book is if you ask yourself better questions, you get better results. And I asked myself a question, which is, how else might I? And that single question, how else might I, has helped me get so many successes and better outcomes in life. The other book that I read is Darren Hardy's The Compound Effect. And it's the idea that little small actions add up over time. And that's exactly like what I teach. And I will show you how I've applied it in my own career to get incredible results. But that's how I have lost over 120 pounds. That's how I've transformed my career. That's how I've retooled into security and voice. And now AI was the small actions adding up over time. Those 2 books alone are like my go-to books.
Amazing recommendations. Now, before we wrap up, is there anything else that you want to share with our listeners that maybe we didn't have a chance to talk about yet today?
Connect with me on LinkedIn. I am constantly posting stories. And look, I am vulnerable. I am authentic. I'm not going to post a perfect picture highlight reel. I'm going to tell you the messy middle and the story and what I actually had to overcome behind it to inspire you and then also give you tactical steps. And I take everyday activities. I'm working through dips and doing dips at the gym and showing you how I apply that to my own leadership mentality, all the way to an improv class that I took earlier this year and the leadership and life skills that I took from that. So follow me on LinkedIn, Lauren Hasson, LAUREN HASSON. Find me on LinkedIn and let's connect. And I'd love to connect and build a relationship with you.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. And I look forward to seeing everyone on the webinar.
Yes, that's all we have time for. But again, if you want to hear more from Lauren, please be sure to register for the Elevate Your Career webinar. You can find that information in the description and on the ISACA website. Be sure to subscribe to the ISACA podcast so you don't miss another episode, and we hope to see you again soon.